Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I see Minister McCulley about to leap to his feet, so I apologise for taking his call. My intention is actually to be of some assistance to the House in working their way through the issues that are on this bill. I think most members of the House will know that I am actually a hunter, and there's been some issues made out of 2 points I want to address first. The first one is, why are we doing this in urgency? And the Honourable Peter Dunn made the point that there are provisions that will expire, there are provisions that need to be put in place before next year's commercial activity by safari parks and hunters, so that issues which actually are an anathema to the recreational hunter are actually dealt with. And so there is no mischief, there is nothing untoward about the reason why this bill is being dealt with now. By February, there needs to be codes of practice in place. Let me deal with another issue which is perplexing the House. Why are we taking recreational out of the bill? In the last 12 months, I've been a hunter, and I can name 5 different hats that I've had. I have been a recreational hunter, harvesting some eco-protein for the pot or the deep freeze or whatever else. I've been a trophy hunter, unsuccessful, but attempted trophy hunter. I have been a commercial hunter. I have sold product that I have harvested. I have been a pest hunter. I have dealt to wild pigs that were savaging young fawns on my deer farm, and we wiped out an intrusion that happened there. And I have been a guide. People have paid money, and I do this for charities. There's 5 different things. Now, if you go to the interpretation clause 4, yeah, well, that may amaze the member, but, you know, I can multitask. But if members go to clause 4, the interpretation clause, there is no definition of recreational hunter. And there is ambiguity about that. Everybody knows what a hunter is, but not everybody knows what a recreational hunter is, and at some point there could be some litigation about exactly what that actually means. And so this is actually inclusive rather than selective. And I want the House to just understand that there is no mischief. This actually brings a level of inclusion to hunting and making sure all of those representations, because people often wear different hats. Can I then make some comment about clause 22, which is about the way in which fees may be extracted to pay for the Big Game Hunting Council? 22, I think, and the mechanism that is there. I have also had some experience in being on hunts, but I'm too Presbyterian to pay in other countries. And can I just illustrate that it is, in fact, the habit of pretty much every country in the world to charge foreign nationals a different fee to locals. My experience particularly is in Wyoming. A tag for an elk, if you are a resident Wyoming citizen, is $150. If you are a non-resident but US state citizen, it's $250 on top of the $150. If you are a foreign national outside the US, it's $700 on top of the $150. And that's one of the lower rates that it actually does occur. So we're not creating anything that is outside the realm of what is normal practice internationally, where there is some kind of expectation where fees are paid for people who are not resident, and those fees go towards the management of the environment and the various hunting species that are there. So that's an explanation of how that might work to actually fund the Game Council. Now, can I then address the SOP on new clause 26, which it talks about a code of practice for the herding and hazing. And this is one of those issues which needs to be dealt with post-haste, because there's a number of hunting guides that are ready to set in place contracts for next year, and so that's why there's some urgency about actually doing that. How did this actually happen? That's the question. And members need to understand that there is WARO, W-A-R-O, Wild Animal Recovery Operations. where significant numbers of animals, when they're in the wrong place, and I think the Minister, when the Minister in his second reading speech said, when animals there are too many in the wrong place, they need to be harvested, and Waro is a very effective way of actually controlling that. My interests principally are around Fiordland, and every year 6,000 deer are taken out by Waro operations in Fiordland. That's the number that sustainably or is kept at the level to various numbers in Fiordland. Now, some of the more enterprising guides said, hang on, there is a commercial application for hunting out of helicopters, and so they tweaked, I think would be a word we could use, the Waro provisions to allow them to charge for the hunting of trophies or the herding and hazing and the extension of how that actually happened. Now, in many ways, this is an anathema to the recreational hunter, and that actually needs to be dealt with. And in most countries in the world, there are some very strict rules about that. Now, we in New Zealand have this very delicate relationship where we need to allow Waro to continue to harvest animals that are in excessive numbers in some places, and yet not allow that provision for our people to conduct hunting experiences that are outside what is acceptable, certainly internationally. If you go to a place like Canada, you aren't even allowed to hunt, not you, Mr. Chairman, a member is not allowed to hunt on the day that they fly in case they see a trophy animal on the way in, or they actually do some detour routes on the way and actually look into it. So the rules are quite specific. And there is nothing... Sorry, has the member got a question? I'm happy to answer a question. So this is about actually putting in place, and the members read very carefully, I think that SOP around the codes is quite elegant. It actually gives an opportunity for the Big Game Council to create a code which will set the rules around this and still allow for the sensible use of Waro. And that's principally what that is about. So all in all, I think that the SOPs add to the bill. Can I just run through the key points again? That it's necessary to get this bill underway so that, and pass through the third stage, so that the time limits and the things that need to be put in place before the next commercial activity of guiding starts. The reduction of the word, or the removal of the word recreational. Recreational is actually takes the ambiguity away, and the SOP on clause 26 allows us to have best practice which will be accepted internationally.
Call Eugenie Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.